Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. So I'm not really going to put the breaking news thing on here. I'm just going to reiterate some of the stuff that's already been out there kind of in the hobby social media, as well as kind of add my own 2 cents in and kind of talk through a couple of other pieces related to it. So the big news story of the day has been eBay accusing PWCC of shill bidding through a mass email that has gone out and made the rounds already. By the time you've seen this, if you haven't already caught on to it, you will certainly do so if you follow anybody in the hobby. Sports Card Investor has already given his 2 cents, as well as a variety of others. But one of the things that I'll kind of add on here is that I want to talk through kind of some of the implications of it, and also some information that has gotten out there a little bit as we're kind of all trying to figure it out a little bit. The big mass email was really kind of the first big surprise, mainly because of the public way it was done and kind of the fact that it puts PWCC in the spot where they need to respond. And I'll give you a little bit of an inkling on one of the things that I've seen out there that could potentially be a bit of a response, and also may be a little bit of a motivating factor in this. Again, all speculation, because until you specifically get somebody who's authorized to speak on behalf of these companies, take everything you see and hear with a grain of salt. The part that we know for sure is that eBay did accuse PWCC of shill bidding in the email, and what I'm showing you right now is the article from Sports Collectors Daily directly pertaining to it. So specifically in the letter, they talk about, according to them, that recently it was determined that individuals associated with trading card seller PWCC have engaged in shill bidding, which is prohibited by eBay. Now, obviously, massive accusation, big deal. A lot of it is that they're looking at the eBay policy and standards designed to ensure trust in the marketplace, et cetera, et cetera. It's determined that a buyer or seller is not acting in good faith. eBay takes this action seriously and takes action. What they've done in effect is they've suspended and restricted a lot of PWCC's ability to make auctions in it. And they've started pulling down a variety of different listings by PWCC. That's the short version of it. Now, obviously, the public manner in which they did it could be very interesting and a bit problematic potentially. But the other aspect of it is simply this. It can't be ignored that PWCC has started doing its own auctions off of its own platform, the Premier Auctions, and done very well with some of them already recently. And it's one of those things where if you're in PWCC shoes with the vault and all that information, it would be easier and more logical for you to kind of focus your attention on doing it in-house. And if eBay is going to kind of force your hand and also kind of out you, well, in addition to a potential lawsuit you may pursue, again, I'm not aware of any at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me if they'd at least look into it, because it is kind of damaging to the reputation. And this is kind of a funny story on the cusp of the video that I did yesterday, the audio version, where I talked about the whole trust thing related to alt and related to Panini and related to all that. But the concept's the same. If you're a selling platform or a big time consigner, trust is a huge issue there too. And eBay in effect said that, well, you can't trust PWCC's, auctions on it. So we've, restricted them. Well, that doesn't look good on PWCC, obviously. But one thing I'll say about that as pertains to this, and like I said, I'll include, as I usually do, an article to this so you can scan through it. This briefly gives a synopsis on what's gone on, and also a little bit of background here, because it talks about 2 years ago an attorney, Jeff Lichman, being part of a federal investigation that has started regarding altered cards through the company. So there's been some controversy with PWCC in the past. So for some folks, that's a bit of a celebratory thing, but obviously PWCC is not going to take that sitting down. There is an element to it. Now, again, this is all 100% under the realm of speculation, but as I said, the fact that PWCC is starting to work on his own platform would potentially give another impetus for eBay potentially to try to give him the boot. But if you look at this one here, and again, I'll include a link. This is the LA collection on Instagram, and on their page, they included a little bit of an exchange, talking about a little bit back and forth. So here's the email in question, and then they tried reaching out to PWCC here through the chat, specifically talking about, if they're still accepting vault submissions. And again, you'll be able to see this if you click on the link to the post. But specifically, if you go underneath and you follow the conversation, this is the part that we're going to be looking at here. Our auctions won't be on eBay any longer with this new development. However, we will have our own proprietary monthly auction housed on our website within 6 to 8 weeks. Now, again, take everything seen here with a grain of salt. But if that is the case, that would be a very logical response for PWCC. Because if you're going to restrict us and you're going to try to do that to us, and we're already trying to build our own platform anyway, well, then forget it. This is just an accelerator on plans that were already underway. Now, following this next one here, talking about whether it would just be on the vault or whether it would be, regular consignments, what it would be, is that all our marketplaces will be 100% housed on our website. We are done with eBay at this point. Again, this is, conjecture, but it is presumably based on a chat that they were conducting with somebody who is through the PWCC website. Take it with a grain of salt. You'll have to look into it a little bit yourself, and just keep your eyes open is what I would say. It wouldn't surprise me, though, if that was the next move for PWCC, because at this point, they're not going to sit back idly because that email is very potentially damaging to the reputation. Going back what I said a few moments ago about the whole trust thing is that trust is paramount in this situation. But folks that have done business with them in the Premier Auction are probably pretty happy with it. And inside of something like a Premier Auction, you also get to take advantage of the fact that you have vetted buyers. So there is an aspect of that as well. It's one of those things where eBay has never had more competition for platforms. Golden is trying to do its own thing, obviously with its auctions, and Ken Golden has repeatedly said over time that he would love to have a little bit more room to be able to do smaller dollar transactions and be able to take some market share from eBay. If PWCC moves to a more regular occurring auction, they may then also take some smaller items, which would then also eat some market share from eBay. There's a lot of people coming for eBay's slice of the pie, so to speak. And it would be one of those things where if eBay was sufficiently threatened, the whole idea that this is 100% just based on cracking down on shill bidding is all well and good, except there's plenty of notorious, alleged shill bidding, like a Probstein and like some others, consigners, who already have been accused of that in the past, who are currently still on the platform. If this is part of a systematic move to move through some of these, different accounts that have been accused of shill bidding in the past, then that I think would give it a little bit more validity. Again, I'm not going to argue or debate about the concerning nature of a lot of these consignment houses who have already had their rumors of shill bidding over many years. But the fact that it's over many years is kind of my point. My point is, this isn't new. eBay suddenly discovered this recently, quote unquote. That's the part that I take a little bit of question to. It is interesting timing, given the fact that PWCC has made a stronger and stronger push towards moving more of their stuff onto their own Premier Auction. And if any of this chat that was included in this Instagram post has any validity whatsoever, then it wouldn't surprise me if this is just the last nail in the coffin to take PWCC completely off of eBay, let them do their own thing, and then that's just another seller that is off of the eBay platform. And even though they may not have the most amount of lots on eBay, they were certainly bringing in a lot of money potentially to eBay over time. So it is kind of an interesting thing where that would eat off some of eBay's market share in the overall price of the overall sports card sales pie. Just some stuff to think about. Again, we're still early days and we're going to need some verifications of some of this stuff. But I would just consider that would be an element of it that you really have to give some thought to, is that eBay may be preemptively striking against the potential of this becoming a thing. Just some thoughts, initial thoughts. Obviously, as more comes out, we'll have a chance to think about this some more and come to some conclusions. I'll see if anything comes of it, and then I'll address this again during the hobby roundup. I want to do another one of those videos this week, especially with this having come out. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more on the channel. But I'd be curious what you guys would think. Do you think this is basically eBay finally starting to crack down on shill bidding? Is that really what's going on here? Will they go after some of these other shill bidding companies as part of an overall campaign? Or was this directly targeted at PWCC as a potential competitor to try to cut out the legs from under them and undermine their credibility to their potential clients as well? That's kind of the question that I would pose out to you. Or do you think it's an alternative, a third option that maybe I haven't even considered? Anyway, I'll leave it at that for you to consider. Usual videos coming up on the channel. Live stream on Friday as always, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be talking through this and some other things obviously going on. Like if you liked the video, subscribe if you could to the channel, and we'll talk to you in the next